After 2016 exceeded all expectations on the ATP World Tour, attention turns to a new year, and the 2017 season promises plenty of intriguing storylines. The tennis world was gripped by a battle for year-end number one in the Emirates ATP rankings that went right to the wire, and those in the know are expecting that to continue.
Well, I think there's a lot of different storylines for 2017. I think you've got Murray at the top of the pile, and it'd be interesting to see how he can maintain his strong finish from 2016. You've got Djokovic that's been overtaken for the first time in a long time. He'll be keen to bounce back, and I think 2017 can be Murray's year. I think he's been so persistent, he's been so determined to keep overcoming the hurdles that have been put in front of him, and in probably one of the toughest generations in the game's history. So now he has reached the summit in 2016. I think he's there to stay.
Definitely him and Novak are the two. It really depends on which one's going to be on better form. I know Novak will probably be disappointed, and he will work hard and want to come back next year and take the number one away. So I think the two of them are going to have a good battle. I think it's going to be a very interesting year on who's going to dominate and who's going to end up number one.
I think Murray might win his first Australian Open title. And the first half of the season, all the way until Paris, Djokovic has tons to defend. So Murray's got to make hay that first 6 months, and the next 6 months, he's got to try to defend. So I still think Murray's going to get there, but Djokovic will be on his tail.
I do anticipate there'll be a couple other people that there's an opening. Maybe not necessarily right at the top, but it's not as if the same guys get to every single final. So that this is the time for those people that are just below it to make their mark. There's a couple guys who've been around knocking on the door, and to me this is their time to do it.
Adding further drama, two of the biggest names in the history of men's tennis are looking to come back stronger than ever in 2017.
And then of course we're all waiting for Rafa and Roger to come back, especially Rafa for winning the 10th French Open. That's the goal, the main goal. And I really hope for Roger to be back and to produce another big effort, to be back in the top 10 players in the world.
Obviously Federer is 35, he's missed a good half a year, so it's going to be interesting to see how he can come back in 2017. He needs to get matches under his belt, he needs to play well. Rafa is younger. It'll be great to see whether they can get back competing for the biggest and best titles.
Well, I think Rafa will be back. He could have been at the end of season finals. Obviously the wrist was bothering him, he took a little time off. I think that was the right call. So obviously he wants to make a major push for 2017. So I expect him to be at the Tour finals, I expect him to be playing well. For Roger, that's the big question mark. If he's fit, he gets back in the top 10 and gets back in the mix. And we all hope he's going to be fit because Roger is well needed for our sport.
Those guys have a lot of pride, I think, and they'll want to keep whooping everybody's butt to show everybody that they're still there.
Much is expected of the ATP World Tour's group of young pretenders. The next gen are predicted to shine in 2017, with the more established members of that group looking to kick on.
One of these guys, I suspect, will be a Grand Slam champion and the #1 player in the world in a couple of years.
It's going to be interesting to watch Kyle Edmund. He had a good 2016, halved his ranking from outside the top 100 to finish in the top 50, and next year I'd like to see him do the same. I think it's realistic for him to finish knocking on the door of the top 20 in 2017.
There's a lot of young kids, like a lot of talent coming up, and it's nice to see a mixture, and I really hope the young ones keep coming because I've watched some matches this year. Kyrgios is a little different, but still, it's nice for the tour to see a little bit of different, and now I'm starting to watch it again a little more.
I want to see the next gen guy. I want to see one of those guys like Kyrgios or Zverev in the top 10 in the world, and one of them should be in there. Zverev is the one that stands out the most at the moment, just because of his discipline, his work ethic. He seems to be getting better all the time and making his progressive steps. And you look at him as a guy that you think is going to get to the top of the game probably if he continues on this pace. So there's a lot to look forward to for 2017.
So stand by for another fascinating year on the ATP World Tour. Next week on ATP World Tour Uncovered, 2017 gets underway, and with all the action from Doha, Brisbane and Chennai. and how to make the most of the off-season. We're in Monte Carlo with Grigor Dimitrov. Don't forget to log on to ATPWorldTour.com and chat with us on the ATP's official social network, MyATP, powered by Bixlet, and on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. See you next week.